calor así.
Shalom from Jerusalem. This is Uriel, Independent News, Yerushalayim, Israel. Sir, what do you think about America basically wanting Israel and the Palestinians to sit down and try to broker some kind of peace agreement once and for all?
Peace is the most important word in the world, but it's much more complicated than that. There are many things that should be done, but the main people that have to sit down and get into an agreement are. It's the situation is complicated. The situation is much more complicated than that. It's important. Peace. I don't know what to say.
Now, as a Jew that you are, do you think that Abu Mazen or Mahmoud Abbas really wants peace?
Once they make a liaison with Hamas, nothing will work. It has to be will to live in peace from both sides. From both sides. And that's the most important thing. But if there is not will to live in peace, and I believe that the most important tool is economic cooperation. That's the most important tool. Because nothing will, economic cooperation is something that we can use in order to have peace. There has to be trade between Israel and Palestine. And but there has to be, first of all, a will to change the education of the Palestinians, because if we continue teaching our children that all Israel will have to disappear, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. So I am not sorry. That's not going to happen, and I'm glad that that's not going to happen.
Do you fear for your children here in Israel if they get on a bus or get on a train that a terrorist will infiltrate?
Not at all, because there is a divine plan for everything. So, and I don't have children yet, so maybe my answer will change in a few years. And what can America do? It's a good question. I wish I could know, but I think that the most important thing is education, number one, and
Economic
cooperation. Yeah. But what can America do? I don't know. I don't know what can they do. Maybe I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Do you think that this time around there will be some kind of progress within the Palestinians and Israelis when they meet? I believe next week Tzipi Livni is going to go and meet one of the Palestinian representatives in Washington. You think that something will happen then and there?
I mean, if they sit down and talk, that's the greatest thing that could be. But it has to be an honest talk. It has to be sincere, and they cannot do like Arafat did. He sat down, he said one thing, and then he said another thing to the people. So it has to be honest, sincere, and tachlis, as you say in Israel.
You're talking about the Oslo Accord agreements when Arafat and his representative went to Oslo and they signed this agreement. Yet Arafat came back and basically told his people one thing, and he told the Oslo representatives another thing, and basically
he applauded towards Israel. He condemned the piguim, the explosions. Towards their people, towards the Palestinians, he celebrated, and that's something that cannot, it's something that cannot be.
But you want peace?
Of course, because everybody
we
has
yearn
the
for
right
shalom,
to exist.
Nachon?
Of course, everybody has the right to exist, and the most important thing is that we cannot forget that every human has human rights, and nobody can take their human rights from anybody. Not Israel from the Palestinians, not the Palestinians from Israel, and everybody has the right to exist. And how can we live in peace? I don't know. That's a question that I've been thinking to myself, but I believe that we should talk, first of all.
This is Uriel, Independent News,
And this is Solomon
Yerushalayim, Israel. Hussein?
And this is Solomon Michan from Jerusalem.
Shalom.